Hello, hello, and welcome back to LST Storytime. My name is Miss Murphy, and I will be reading your story today. If you have been rocking with us for a while, welcome back. If you're new here, make sure you press that like button, subscribe, and comment down below stories you would like to hear in the new year. Welcome back. Today, we are reading the story, How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this book. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. So here's a Who. And she likes Christmas. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just tight, just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was two sizes too small. Here's the Grinch. Do you think his heart was too small? Maybe. Let's see what happens. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with the sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe and a wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, is practically here. Then he growled with the Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew. He's looking down in Whoville, drumming his fingers. For tomorrow, he knew all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise. Noise. The noise. That's one thing he hated. The noise. The noise. The noise. Do you think they're making a lot of noise? It looks like it, yes? There's trains and there's darts. There's someone climbing on blocks. All the noise. Let's see what happens next. Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast and they'd feast and they'd feast and feast and feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand at least. Hey, you guys, what does feast mean? If they're feasting on pudding and on Who's roast beef, what do you think feast means? Look at this picture. What exactly are they doing? Eating. Yes, they're eating. That's what feast means. Very good. And then they do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing, sing, sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Whoville's Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 50 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. You see them singing? They stand together and they hold hands and they sing, sing, sing. He says, I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then a great idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. See what happens? I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around. You think you found a reindeer? Maybe? Let's see. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Poor Max. You guys see Max over here. Poor Max. He made a Santa Claus suit. Do you think it's going to work? Maybe. Let's see what happens. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in the town. Off they go. Giddy up, Max. Giddy up, Max. Poor Max. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air, and the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, "This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bag in his fist. Uh-oh, what do you think he's going to do? You see him on top of the roof? Oh my goodness. He's about to go down that chimney with the empty bag. Let's see what happens. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who's stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Aw, look at the Who's house and all of the stockings. He's gonna take the stockings. Yes. Let's see what happens next. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them in the bag. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. He took all of the presents, put them in a bag, and then he stuffed them up the chimney. Oh, such a Grinchy Grinch, right? Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. Oh, he took their food, right? Oh my goodness. He took the Who's pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. Oh, such a Grinchy Grinch. He even took their food. Oh, Grinchy Grinch. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. Oh my goodness, you guys. Let's see what happens. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" Uh-oh. Look at Grinchy Grinch, Santa Grinch. You see little Who? She's over here. You guys know why he's taking the tree? Because he's trying to steal Christmas. Oh, let's see what happens. Let's see if he is successful. But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie and he thought of one quick. "Why, my sweet little tot, that fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Poor Cindy Lou. He thought of a good fib, right? Yeah. The last thing he took was the log for the fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls, he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. And he took the log. They can't even make a fire over here. Yes. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. He went to another house and took everything except for crumbs that were too small for the mouse. It was 1:15 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with the presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings and trappings. You see, he packed everything up. Poor Who's in Whoville, all of their Christmas is on. Look at Max, look. Y'all see poor Max? Poor Max. And the Who's in Whoville. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip top to dump it. Who pooh to the Who's, he was Grinchly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, "Boo, hoo, hoo, hoo." So there he is. He has all of their Christmas at the top. And he says down here in Whoville, he says they're going to be sad. Yeah. Do you think they're going to be sad, really? Is Christmas all about the presents, you guys? No, it's not. That noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. Oh, look, he's listening. You see Max listening? Look at Max. And there's Grinchy Claus. Here. They're listening for the boo-hoo-hoo. They did hear a sound, and it started low, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounds merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Look at the Who's face. You see he looks surprised? Do you think the Who's are crying? No. Let's see what's happening. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came! Somehow or other, it came just the same. Look at all of the Who's in Whoville with no presents. They still enjoyed Christmas. Yes? Is Christmas about the presents? No, it's not. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from this store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. You see, Mr. Grinch, he has a headache. He was thinking and thinking for 3 hours until his puzzler was sore. Do you think Christmas comes from a store? No, maybe it does mean more, right? And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. 3 sizes bigger. And the moment his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. Look at him. He is whizzing down that mountain. So he brought back all of their toys and all of their food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, he carved the roast beef. Look at Grinchy Claus enjoying dinner with the Who's. Yes, isn't that amazing? Good story, you guys. I am sure that you guys have seen this story in a movie. There are a few movies out. So thank you so much for joining us today as we read How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And I want you to remember the lesson that you learned, that Christmas does not come from a store. All right, you guys, thank you for joining us. Make sure you come back next time so that you can see our latest video. And remember, if you are new here, make sure you like and subscribe and comment below stories that you would like to hear next year. I'll be talking to you later. Bye.